In this edition of Southern Newsweek, a new addition to a Dunedin tourism business results in the business being taken off the market and new jobs created. Young sailors benefit from the knowledge of a 5-time America's Cup winner, and residents in a Southern Lakes town band together to stop drivers parking on the side of a busy highway. Kia ora, I'm Holly Buchanan. Family-owned tourism business Nature's Wonders is about to add another string to its bow. The business was listed internationally for sale for a number of months. However, director Perry Reid says the family has decided to keep the business, and it's creating at least 7 new jobs.
Sailing hardships through broken waters, Nature's Wonders is to launch its new nautical attraction, called Albatross Express, across the Otago Harbour at Wellers Rock tomorrow. But this afternoon, the vessel is in the capable hands of Kerry's Bay Marine, having some final grooming and mechanical tweaks. An understandably excited Perry Reid says so far they've employed several new staff on top of their already big team.
It is purpose built. It's a jet unit, so you can't go cutting things up. And it's a catamaran, which is incredibly stable. It's got a lot of power. We can do 30.1 knots in it, which is very fast for the size of the boat. And it's comfortable and it's lovely. 2 decks, a lower deck enclosed in glass, and the open deck obviously is out in the open air and the wildlife fly at eye level around you.
The company purchased this catamaran a few months ago and have been working on making it ready for this season's visiting tourists.
All up, the whole project would be probably around $1 million. And it was originally built by Whale Watch Kaikoura, which is fantastic, and really capable boat. It's a really good boat. And my oldest son and I, we sailed it down from Hokianga.
However, it hasn't all been plain sailing for Nature's Wonders, as the 172-hectare Otago Peninsula business was up for tender for several months earlier this year.
Okay, well, we're working 7 days a week, and the family got together and we said, right, if we can get someone who will take over the property and look after the wildlife as we have, we'll look at selling it. And we said if we can't get that right person, we'll invest more money, which we've done, and we will stay on.
They've taken on 9 extra staff so far, and Martin Reid hopes to add more staff and expand further.
So employing skippers is no different to employing bus drivers or any other member of the team. You just got to employ the person who's got the right ticket to do the job, so that's what we're doing.
The new nautical arm of Nature's Wonders is going to be officially launched on Saturday from Wellers Rock on the Otago Peninsula. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Cyclists following the Around the Mountains cycle trail near Queenstown are likely to find an extra obstacle in their way. 6 farm gates across the track have been locked. Until the Southland District Council and the landowner involved resolve the impasse, cyclists have just 2 options: find another route or lift their bicycles over the gates. Mike Price reports.
This is one of the gates with a thick chain and a heavyweight padlock. Hi, I'm Mark Price and I'm just south of Athol. The gate is definitely locked. There's no sign explaining why that is. I can see quite a number of young lambs around, and it looks like the farmer is preparing for tailing. With electric fences either side of the gate, cyclists have no choice but to head for State Highway 6 or lift their bikes over.
Well, we were having a good trip coming through from 5 Rivers towards Athol. Lovely track through there, but as we got along, we suddenly encountered a property where all the gates seemed to be locked. So we found ourselves lifting our fully laden touring bikes right over those gates, which wasn't that easy.
And was there any signs, any explanation of
No, none whatsoever. They seem to be locked up to the farm gates. So quite a puzzle, but very inconvenient and quite hard work.
The length of track affected is about 1 kilometre long. The Southland District Council has acquired from the same farmer another strip of land along the roadside where a new track will be constructed, they hope, by Christmas. For Mr Farrow and his daughter Ella, riding mountain bikes with hefty pannier bags, the locked gates were a bit of an inconvenience, but did not alter their view of the track.
It was a great track, yeah, lovely. Mavora Lakes was a lovely detour alongside the river a fair bit. It'd be nice to see the missing link completed at some stage. And I think it'd be nice at some stage for someone to work out how to get from Kingston through to Queenstown on a safe road. That option's not really viable for touring cyclists.
You decided it was too dangerous to use that?
Yes, yeah, quite busy and very narrow. So with my daughter with me, I just wasn't keen to take that on.
The 180 kilometre track takes between 3 and 5 days to ride. Mark Price, The South Today.
Five-time America's Cup winner Sir Russell Coutts was back on the water at the weekend. This time he was imparting some of his knowledge to a group of young up-and-coming sailors at the Wanaka Yacht Club. Tim Miller reports.
Some of New Zealand's brightest young sailing stars got to rub shoulders with some of the legends of the sport at a youth sailing clinic in almost perfect conditions on Lake Wanaka. Hi, I'm Tim Miller at the Wanaka Yacht Club for The South Today. Five-time America's Cup winner Russell Coutts and his former Team New Zealand teammates Barry Mackay and Hamish Pepper passed on some of their wealth of knowledge at a youth sailing clinic at the Wanaka Yacht Club on Saturday. After spending a day with the young sailors, Coutts thinks the future is bright for sailing in the deep south.
I must say I'm really super impressed with the standard of sailing of these young sailors. They've got a good core group of sailors. In fact, down the South Island, south of the South Island, there's been a bit of a resurgence of sailing at junior level. I think it's great, great to see.
For young Queenstown sailor Jamie Shaw, having his sporting heroes pass on some of their sailing knowledge was an opportunity he couldn't miss.
It's a really good opportunity, learning really critical skills, one of the top sailors in the world. It's amazing.
The clinic was organised by the Wanaka Yacht Club, and youth sailing coordinator Craig Fahey thought the day couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, these guys, Russell Coutts has won 5 America's Cups. One of New Zealand's greatest sportsmen, let alone sailors. So that, Barry Mackay, Hamish Pepper, Barry Tom, we've got some incredible coaching resources here.
The Yacht Club now plans to hold a youth regatta on the lake early next year and hopes to attract some of the best young sailors in New Zealand. Tim Miller in Wanaka for The South Today.
A group of train enthusiasts and business people are looking to bring steam power back to Invercargill. The Southland Steam Train Charitable Trust is doing a feasibility study into getting the Kingston Flyer up and running in the city. And they're hoping it'll fit right in with the Southland culture.
The Kingston Flyer was the original locomotive travelling between Bluff and Kingston in the 1870s, delivering supplies to miners during the gold rush. Since then, it's changed lines and ownership many times. But for the last few years, the 138-year-old train's been left unused, in a state of disrepair. The Southern Steam Train Charitable Trust has been created to try to bring the train back to its original home.
The Kingston Flyer itself has, as I say, originally, the original Invercargill Kingston line opened in 1878. It's the home originally of where the train was based, where those locomotives ran on the branch all the way to Kingston. Kingston was only ever a terminus. Invercargill has always been the hub of railways in Southland, and in fact Southland along with Canterbury pioneered railway infrastructure in New Zealand.
Buckingham says there's a real pride in Invercargill and Southland for its collection of historic vehicles. He hopes the train will soon join the likes of the E. Hayes Motorworks collection, Bill Richardson Transport World, and the soon-to-open classic motorcycle Mecca as a tourism staple for the region.
So it's a very important part of Southland history and a very important part, dare I say, of New Zealand railway history, and it's a piece of heritage that needs to be preserved in perpetuity. We want to get it into public ownership via the trust so that it's no longer in private ownership and subject to commercial constraints of operation.
The Charitable Trust is conducting a feasibility study into restoring the Kingston Flyer and having it run between Invercargill, Bluff, Gore and Nightcaps multiple times per year. They remain tight-lipped about the approximate cost of the restoration and running of the locomotive, but have indicated the price would be in the millions. Buckingham says the study is funded by donations from organisations and individuals, and the running of the project will be as well.
So looking at the funding options, it will cost a significant amount of money to restore firstly purchase the locomotive and then house it, restore it. We're looking at a whole range of funding options. Probably the first question that generally we get asked as a trust is how much is it going to cost and where's the money going to come from?
They say inspiration for running the Flyer has come from the Dunedin Railways and Steam Incorporated of Paikakariki. He says the whole project will be completed within 5 to 6 years, should it be found to be financially viable. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Frankton residents have had enough of the parked cars that line State Highway 6 through the township. Many of the cars belong to people using nearby Queenstown Airport and are left on the side of the highway because there's no parking charge. So, at a recent meeting, residents decided to petition the New Zealand Transport Agency to get rid of them.
It's the main entrance to the country's top tourist destination and the verges are clogged with cars. Hi, I'm Mark Price and this is State Highway 6 at Frankton. Parked cars in every direction.
I think it looks more untidy than anything. I haven't heard of any accidents there. No, I think it's untidy. It looks terrible. You've got the main tourist town in New Zealand and here's your entrance way into it.
The finger is being pointed at Queenstown Airport because many of the cars have been left here while their owners are away on holiday.
Oh well, it's just due to what the community feels is the quick expansion of the airport and they're not keeping up with their own parking on site. It's overflowing onto the streets.
The Airport Corporation says just half the parked cars are related to the airport. It's also created 50 new car parks. Mr Lewis believes the airport has land for many more.
Oh, they've got the land. There's all that green space behind Mitre 10, that's theirs. So they can certainly get there and they can certainly provide it. So no, the land issue is not an argument that they can come back on. All of that, those keen golfers will be upset, but all of that par 5 Frankton golf course is theirs, so they've got no excuse.
State Highway 6 is the responsibility of the New Zealand Transport Agency. They can expect a petition from Frankton locals. Mark Price for The South Today.
Coming up on Southern Newsweek, it's all about Forsyth Bar Stadium, which will soon host a drifting event. And art lovers are in for a real treat as an exhibition showcases the work of some significant talent. Welcome back. A first of its kind event is set to roar into Dunedin next month. The D1NZ National Drifting Series will kick off its season indoors on the 3,000 square metre surface purpose-built on the pitch at Forsyth Bar Stadium. But organisers say it's not just fast cars that will be on display.
When the lights go down on the start of the 2016 D1NZ National Drifting Series, crowds can expect to feel the vibrations of the cars and the heat of the pyrotechnics. The event's been running for 14 years, but only comes as far south as Christchurch. Now Dunedin has its chance to host the event, and organisers say there really is something for everyone.
This event caters to a wider demographic with the BMX, the FMX, the rally, the drifting side of it, and the fact that this has never happened before in the Southern Hemisphere, let alone here in your hometown. So you got to vote with your feet if you want it to come back. We need to fill the stadium up.
The crowd will be entertained with 4 hours packed with high-octane action.
It's the smell, the rubber, the excitement, cars only a mere 4 metres away from you going 120 kilometres sideways beside a concrete wall. Who wouldn't love that? And then someone else is trying to chase them do the same thing.
Building a road inside the stadium will take a week, with workers on the job 24 hours a day. But there's only a 2-day time frame to take it all down.
This venue is really unique. It's got a roof over it, so we're not weather dependent, which is a big thing for motorsport. And also, I guess, the other thing is there's not many venues let you put a motorsport track on top of their pristine rugby pitch that the All Blacks, the Highlanders and everyone play on.
80 of Australia and New Zealand's best drifters will be taking part, but it's hometown hero drifter Bob, who the Dunedin crowd will be supporting. He's been in the sport for 6 years, driving a souped-up Nissan Silvia, and he says the sport is gaining in popularity.
Worldwide it's massive as well, so New Zealand's getting pretty big, especially North Island, but slowly heading down here. As we say, this will get some people knowing about it.
The Nitro-style event is on at the Forsyth Bar Stadium on December 2nd and 3rd. Dee Karen, The South Today.
A New Zealand art exhibition is showcasing the works of some of New Zealand's most significant artists. And Dunedin Public Art Gallery's director says the range of works on show is proof of what can be achieved by an artist with a year to focus on their craft.
The Dunedin Public Art Gallery is showing a new exhibition called Undreamed of. It's a celebration of the 50th year of the Francis Hodgkins Fellowship. and some of New Zealand's most significant art pieces are on display.
There's some very important artists who have been part of the fellowship program, and so the collection of 50 years worth of that work it sort of represents some of our most important artists, in the last 50 years.
The New Zealand art display is largely made up of paintings and sculptures. Part of the collection is being shown in the Dunedin Public Art Gallery, with the rest shown in the Hocken Library. The fellowship, awarded each year to a panel-selected recipient, is named in the honour of an icon in New Zealand art history.
The fellowship has been set up in the honour of Frances Hodgkins, who was really New Zealand's first internationally recognised painter.
In a letter to a friend, Frances Hodgkins once wrote, "I have got well into the spirit of the place, and it is yielding up riches, undreamed of at first sight." Anne McCracken says the fellowship gives artists an opportunity to get the most out of their Otago locale.
Which allows for an artist, usually in their early part of their career, to live and work in Dunedin and to devote their time and energies full-time to their art practice.
Established in 1962, the first fellowship was awarded in 1966 to Michael Illingworth. The exhibition runs until the 26th of February. Jack Conroy, The South Today.
If you think the only way to lose weight is to restrict what you eat, you may be mistaken, according to a local New Zealand registered dietitian. The new belief relates to having a healthy attitude towards what you're eating, no matter what it is.
A meeting of minds. Good nutrition meets mindfulness. Speaking at Otago Access Radio with show host Dr. Kumari Valentine, registered dietitian Josephine Greer says people should get away from the idea of not eating certain foods.
Firstly, aim to enjoy your food. So if you go out to a restaurant, say, pick the thing on the menu that you want to eat, not the thing that you think is the healthiest to eat. And that just means that you're really you're satisfied with the end of process of eating, we hope.
Greer says taking your time and relaxing while eating helps your body to process food. Both her and Dr. Valentine agree people have been told a lot of negative things around food. This is bad food, this is good food, and I have no self-control with food. Both women agree the messaging needs to change.
But what we know from the research that is starting to happen on mindful eating and the non-diet approach is that if you allow yourself to eat a full range of foods, there's actually less drive and compulsion, less using foods to soothe when you open up that world, give yourself permission to eat.
We have this message that we should be eating a particular way. We should be eating less, we should be doing this, and our approach to our eating is driven by these shoulds. So first we need to listen to our self-talk, and we can change our shoulds to coulds.
Dr. Valentine says it's up to people to reprogram their own self-talk and adopt a mindful approach to nutrition and life in general.
So how we eat is part and parcel of how we talk to each other, how we talk to ourselves, how we take care of ourselves. So I liked what Josephine said, that food is neither good nor bad. It is simply food. And so removing that judgment can really make a huge difference in how we start relating to food.
Both women agree people can acknowledge negative thoughts, accept them and redirect thoughts and feelings to what we're eating and to enjoy it. The pair were at the Otago Access Radio studio recording an episode of Kumari Valentine's show The Conscious Adventurer. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
After the break on Southern Newsweek, a New Zealand singer-songwriter returns from the States to tour with an album that's 12 years old. And Oamaru's airport is taken over by a hot rod club. Welcome back. New Zealand songwriter Greg Johnson lives most of the time in America, where he recorded the 2004 album Here Comes the Caviar. He's playing a handful of shows in New Zealand this month, beginning in Dunedin at the Cook. The South Today caught up with him at the soundcheck.
Sauntering into the Cook. Greg Johnson has played his brand of melodic pop since coming to New Zealand-wide fame with the song Isabel in the early 1990s. In 1997, he won the APRA Silver Scroll Songwriting Award for the tune Liberty. Johnson's been based in Santa Monica since 2002 and begins a short New Zealand tour at the Cook tonight.
Well, we're guessing here, but I think it's probably close to 20 years since we were here with the Exponents. I think was the last time we played, and maybe the only other time we've played the Cook. It was a different beast then. It was we were kind of imposters on the flying nun scene, I guess, at that point. And the pub was certainly not as beautiful as it is today.
He explains why he's touring his 2004 album, Here Comes the Caviar.
We decided it would be a fun thing to do, so the natural choice was the Caviar. Here Comes the Caviar, I think, because it's got the most known songs on it. They've got a lot of radio, 4 or 5 songs, and that got lots of radio. So we thought, let's play that album front to back, and so that's what we're going to do in order. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's fun, actually. It's fun to play some songs we've never played before.
Greg Johnson's only Dunedin show on this tour is scheduled to begin around 8 o'clock this evening. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
A Dunedin ice skater has secured her place in the New Zealand squad travelling to the Australian National Championships. Kaitlyn Chamberlain's aim is to gain selection to compete while she's there. And it's an opportunity that could see her skating on an international circuit.
17-year-old figure skater Kaitlyn Chamberlain trains on the ice 15 hours a week, as well as completing high school study, and it's paid off. She's part of the New Zealand skating squad, heading to compete in the Australian National Championships at the end of the month, and she's been managing to balance her schoolwork with her daily training.
It helps that skating's before school, so I can kind of come to skating, do my training, go to school, then get after school either go to training or do my studies and finish my internals and whatnot. So it's a challenge, but it's worth it.
She's expecting 25 to 30 competitors in her junior grade, and she's confident her routine will help her stand out and impress the national selectors, giving her a chance to skate at a higher level.
Well, hopefully I plan to qualify for the New Zealand international squad, because at the recent New Zealand Nationals I was only around 1.5-ish points off, so over there I hope to get that, and then from there I should be able to potentially qualify again to go over to some junior Grand Prix around the world.
Chamberlain has been skating since the age of 9 and says giving back to the sport has also been rewarding.
So I coach Kiwi Skate, and I've also been helping out with a few other little ones and whatnot, which has been really good to see.
Her coach Grant Howie develops a skating program, choreographs her routines and manages her fitness. He says her selection is an incredible achievement.
She's been working for 2 years to get to Australian Nationals, and now that she finally has, we're going to see if we can step it up another notch and go to international selection.
Next year will be even busier for Chamberlain as she takes on university study, but for now she's concentrating on getting her routine just right. Dee Karen, The South Today.
The Oamaru Airport runway was home to 90 cars and motorbikes at the weekend, all going as fast as they could over a quarter of a mile. The Whitestone Rodders organise the drag racing event twice a year and anyone can take part. There was a slight headwind, but that didn't seem to slow anyone down.
If you love the smell of burning rubber and petrol, then chances are the Armory Drags is the event for you. All that's needed to take part is a legal car, a driver's licence and a helmet. Everything from V8s, imports and motorbikes have a go at speeding down the quarter-mile track.
To vary from about 11 seconds right up to 17 and 18 seconds. The bikes are running in the 10s, and there's one guy did about a 9.8 today.
There are no prizes on the day or official timekeeping. It's more about how fast you can go and pitting your vehicle against whoever lines up beside you.
Most of them get at least 5 runs. Some of them greedy ones get 7, so it depends how keen they are.
The drags have been back on the calendar for the last 4 years after taking a decade-long break. The event's reputation has been growing in popularity, and people come from out of town to race down the track. Brian King used to take part in the early days and is pleased to see it make a comeback. He's using his work truck and says it's performing well in the conditions.
So it's running 16 seconds at the moment with too much wheel spin, tyre smoke, but yeah, it's just fun.
As well as being fun, he says no matter what car you're driving, it's exciting to put your foot down and go as fast as you can.
I just raced one of the friends of mine, and he said he's been nervous, he's been all day, with me sitting beside him in the opposite lane. So yeah, it's just a bit of a buzz for them to do.
Craig O'Hara was trying to beat his previous times down the runway and says his tea bucket is perfect to take in events like this.
Bought it from North Island about 6 years ago. Just a street car, standard. Got it home, stripped it over the last few years and built new motor, new diff, all that, repainted it, new suspension. Yeah, got right into it.
O'Hara's tea bucket did the quarter mile in 11.266 seconds, the third fastest on the day. The fastest bike was a Yamaha 1000cc, getting down the runway in 10.821 seconds. The next drag meeting will be in March next year. D. Karen, The South Today.
And that's all for this edition of Southern Newsweek. You can see more of Southern News by following us on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, or via our website channel39.co.nz. I'm Holly Buchanan, thanks for watching.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.